The other day I was scrolling through Facebook and I saw one of the Depp musicians sites. There was a post there that said, urgent. Need a Depp guitarist for pub/covers gig on Friday in Bristol. £50. And by the time I saw it, now this was a gig on Friday and I think it was Wednesday night when I was looking through it, and it had only just gone up a few hours before, 2 days in advance. And it had already attracted several hundred comments. And I thought, oh, I'm going to scroll through this because I saw one particular one that was scathing about the fact that you should go out for £50 to play a gig. Now, I think it's really important to have a little bit of a debate here. And actually, if it was me and I lived half a mile from the gig and I was free, I'd have done it. Now, am I driving wages down by doing that? Well, I don't know. I don't think so, really. It's a bit different if you are maybe on a salary and you are getting a job, or you are willing to work for less money just generally. But this is one gig. Now, the Musicians Union, I've been a member for years and years and years. They have set gig rates where there is an MU contract. Now, I don't know many pubs in the UK, at least, that will be looking at MU contracts. They just want a band in because they want to sell more beer and they want just to keep afloat. Pubs have been shutting at the rate of knots for years and years and years. So there is a ceiling rate for pub gigs. Somebody said, why can't pubs pay £500 instead of $250 for a band? This is just sort of pie in the sky stuff. It doesn't make any sense because pubs simply can't afford massive money to pay for a band. The answer is maybe you have a smaller band in a pub rather than a six-piece, for example. You could go out as a trio and actually make a bit of money that way. So we've got to think of ways round it, thinking outside the box with those sort of band fees. Now, of course, the notice period I've just referred to being 2 days. 2 days. If you haven't got a gig on the Friday and you think, oh, there's a gig, oh, great. You're 50 quid up and you're not really doing any damage to anybody else by doing it because it's a band that's already there. They've already been booked and you're just simply helping them out. You are also helping out other people, other musicians in that band who otherwise may have to cancel. For example, if only one guitarist in the band or they feel that they can't do the gig. Actually, you are helping out other people, and when you step into the breach like that, actually you meet new people. Not only that, you're a better musician having done a Depp gig. Some of my favourite gigs have been that, where you arrive and you've never met any of the others and you're going, and they go, oh, do you know this? Yeah, what key? And you're performing 1, 2, 3, go. See you at the other side. So it's really good for people to do these gigs. So actually, that's a major plus point. It's a Depp gig. Now, of course, the proximity, if I live within half a mile, it's a no-brainer. If I didn't have a gig, I'd go, yeah, I can do that. But I live probably 60 or 70 miles from Bristol, so it's not a gig for me, but that's fine. You just keep scrolling on Facebook, except I looked at some of the comments and very, very polarised. People saying, why would you do this? And other people saying, well, here we are in COVID pandemic. We've had very little work. Why wouldn't you? Now, of course, if you've got lots of different music jobs, it's easy to take a gig like this. I'm a music examiner, I do some gigs, I do recordings, I do teaching. I've got all of these different things, income streams, including YouTube and PRS, that sort of thing. So I've got lots of things coming in. So how nice, 50 quid, bit of money, fine. I know a lot of pro players because people have said on the debate that really, if you fill your diary up with 50 quid gigs, you're either not very good or you have no real aspirations to progress. Or it could be a third thing. I know lots of pro players who are doing lots of touring, lots of recording, and actually these people say, I've done some touring myself as well, and it can be a really sterile, very boring environment. Sure, there's sort of the glamour of, staying in hotels and sound checks and gigs and after parties and all of that sort of stuff. But when you're playing the same thing every night, it can make you very, very boring as a player, and it can just... So, why not do a gig somewhere where you might think, let's try this tune, or that tune, or let's get somebody in to sing over this. Amazing. It just brings a sort of freshness back to it. So I know pro players who have fun doing that. They go to a gig. I know one guy who is in a disco band. In fact, I know pretty much the whole band. And some of those players, they do some pretty highbrow work. They're recording on people's albums. They're doing lots and lots of things. And they just want to get together, have a pint and play some music. And the money is not really hugely an object in that. Are they taking a gig away from somebody else? Well, perhaps not, because if they're good players and they are just doing occasional gigs, a venue's going to go, oh, great. But they will fill up their diary with other people. So, there is enough work to go around. Are we lowering wages generally because of doing £50 gigs? I don't think so. If you're on a salary, then perhaps. Pubs don't make much money on alcohol. It's all tax. It's all just collecting tax. Pubs make money, actually they make money on wine because it's in bottles and you can charge more for a glass of wine, that sort of thing. They make money on soft drinks and food and other things like that. Beer, not really. So if you are doing a gig and it's 250 quid for the band, there's a good reason why that money is what it is. Because we need the pubs to play in, if indeed you want to do those gigs. I mean, for balance purposes, I do lots of different things, including higher paid gigs. Now, I did an at-home for somebody, and big garden, lovely house, all flashy sort of Maserati cars and all of that sort of thing. So and I kind of knew that before I went there. So I put in a charge that I thought was reasonable, but a good, solid fee. And I was invited to sit with the guests for lunch, and we all had lobster. Okay, nice. And at the end, the lady who'd employed me said, "Oh, I'll just give you some money." I thought, "Oh, thank you very much." And I got home. I didn't count the money. I got home and I found that there was double what I'd asked for. Double. And I phoned her up and I said, "I'm very sorry. I realised I should have kind of counted the money and just offered my sincere thanks in person for having a gig for that sort of money." So there's another reason why if I get a gig like that one weekend and I get a 50 quid gig the next weekend, it's all in the balance.